Hello, everybody. You have tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm Sergeant Rich Myers with the Indiana State Police Public Information Office, District 52. And I've got with me today Sergeant Anthony Emery, longtime friend, not first-time customer.
No.
Been here many times, right?
A handful.
Used to do this show, used to run this show. Was the host many, many years, and we are still brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance, and we thank them for their continued support of this show. But Anthony has moved on from, let's do a little background. Where'd you start out your career at, Anthony?
Started out at the Connorsville post. I was a road trooper.
It's not even there anymore.
No, it's not.
They decided they couldn't do without you, so they closed
That's what
it
it
down.
was. I left, and they just had to close the doors. At least that's the way I'm telling it.
So you started at the Connorsville Post how many years ago?
That was in 1997. Went to the Connorsville Post, and then I stayed there about 2 years, and then transferred to the Pendleton Post, and shortly after that went to the gaming division.
That was an exciting time in your life, and we're not even in that anymore. So that's
nope, still not
something
doing that.
unique because I never did that.
I was there to the end until they took me out kicking and screaming, and I enjoyed that job. Went from there back to the district for a very short period of time before I went to the motorcycle patrol unit. Okay. And from the motorcycle patrol unit went into PIO of the Indianapolis Post.
And now in charge of recruiting.
Yes.
Great. Well, glad to have you here. And that's what our theme is going to be today. And what we're going to talk about is recruiting. We do have a recruiting process going on right now, as well as a class in the academy going on right now. So hopefully we're going to talk to Anthony and find out what you need to do if you are interested in becoming an Indiana State Trooper. And let's talk a little bit about our class that's in there right now. Are you familiar with how far they are? They're graduating December 22nd.
Yes. So they're getting pretty close. They're about 2 months out from graduation now. We're down. Last week I was told 43.
Okay.
Still at the academy. We started, I believe, with 59 is what we started with, and we're down to 43.
And graduation date is December 22nd. So 2 months out about a 6-month process, right?
It takes about 24 weeks. The upcoming for the 75th, they have shortened that just a bit. They're going to take it down to 21 weeks. You're going to get the same hours of instruction. They're just going to have longer days, unfortunately, for some of those folks, but they're going to still cover the same curriculum. They're just trying to work it out better with the dates because of the holidays and sharing the facility with other law enforcement agencies. And
for those of you that don't know, we do conduct our training at the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in Plainfield, Indiana, and we pretty much share that with the basics that are there. We kind of have our own wing, I would say, that we utilize the Indiana State Police training at, but it is shared with them. So we have to do a lot of things and have to schedule a lot of things. EVOC, gun training, everything has to be scheduled with them also. Right. So trying to get a lot of folks into the same small areas at the same time. So that is a task in itself. Our challenge is just to be able to get those folks scheduled out. Yeah, because a small class for them is generally around 60. Right. For a small class for the basics. So they're generally up there in the numbers that they're trying to do. So, well, let's talk a little bit about recruiting. How are we doing right now for this class? And this is going to be the 75th?
Yes, 75th selection process. The application is now open through November the 30th. So if we receive your application by 11:59 p.m. on November the 30th, then you can be in this process. That is that's a firm date. Firm date. Dead drop date there. No exceptions on that.
Okay. And the application process can be viewed online as well as everything else. If you go to our website, and the best way I tell people to do it is to Google it or use your favorite search engine, Indiana State Police.
Yep.
And all our requirements, everything is right there, right?
Yeah, we have a lot of information on the website, and that website is www.in.gov/ISP. And as you said, Rich, sometimes it's easier just put Indiana State Police in your search engine there and bring that up. But the application's on there. You'll want to click on the Career Opportunities tab on the left-hand side of the page, followed by the State Troopers tab. That's going to open it up. Middle way down the page or so, you're going to see the application for the 75th process, as well as several tabs that you can click on for information as far as salary and benefits, timeline for that process, what to expect in the academy. There's all kinds of really good information there that you can get off the website.
There's even a video, isn't it? So
yeah, I believe we have a couple of videos now available
of the recruiting life and what you expect and what you're going to see once you get there, because it can be an eye-opener.
Yeah, and people ask me all the time, what's the best advice you can give me for the academy? And I tell them PT.
Yeah.
It is a very physically challenging academy, paramilitary atmosphere, a lot of yelling, screaming, but the physical fitness aspect of it is where a lot of folks struggle. So if you come in great physical shape, it's just not going to be an added stressor. That hopefully it's going to be a stress reliever, a time for you to go out there and wind down and kind of zone out and relieve some of that stress through the physical activity rather than adding a stress to it.
Because it is a very stressful academy. It's a very stressful time, and that's to get you ready for a stressful career.
Absolutely.
It can be a stressful job, and you will be possibly in stressful situations, and they want to anticipate that and see if you'll be able to take that and still conduct your job thoroughly.
Yes, absolutely. And right now, you'd mentioned briefly earlier about where we were with the application process right now, and I want to mention that.
Yeah.
We're right now sitting at just shy of around 1,200 applications, I believe, is what I was being told as of Monday.
For positions of
trooper, we're going to hire 65.
65.
Yeah, that's our goal anyway. It's important for everyone to understand, though, that because we have 65 seats does not necessarily mean we're going to fill 65 seats.
Right.
We will only fill 65 seats if we have 65 totally qualified candidates that we feel comfortable with putting in that academy. If we only have 40 applicants that we feel completely comfortable with putting out there, then we'll only run 40. But we will take up to 65 for that academy class.
You're looking for the quality, not necessarily the quantity.
Absolutely. The thing about the Indiana State Police is they hold themselves to a very high regard. And you and I both know that as being in the recruiting aspect of it during PIO. But we know what kind of candidate we're looking for. It's somebody with professionalism, someone with integrity, someone that's got something that they're going to bring to the table. The Indiana State Police is going to offer a lot to them, but we want something in return out of those folks. So we're looking for that quality applicant that's going to come in and give us an honest day's work when there's no one looking over their shoulder, that they're going to do the right thing when no one's watching. So again, those are the types of folks we're looking for.
Now, in your application process, I know that all this is online, but can you give us maybe some of the basic stuff that, hey, you're absolutely going to have this to even apply?
Sure. We do have the minimum requirements, the eligibility requirements for a trooper. And first of all, you must be a U.S. citizen. And secondly, you have to be at least 21 years of age and not have reached your 40th birthday. So in other words, you got to be between 21 and 39 at the time of graduation.
And there's a reason for that.
There is. The way that the state statute's written up on the state trooper's position, they wrote it up that you have to have 25 years of active service to qualify for our retirement and benefits. And for that to happen with our mandatory requirement or mandatory retirement age of 65, then you cannot have reached your 40th birthday by the time you graduate. Our graduation date for this academy will be, I just looked at that, November the 23rd, I believe it is. It's on our website. Just drew a blank. I locked up
2016?
2015.
15.
The academy will start June 28th.
Okay.
And then the graduation's November. And I want to say it's either 20th or 23rd, but that is on our website as well, as far as that. So you just got to make sure that you don't reach your 40th birthday by that graduation date. It states on there by the time you're appointed, is what our website tells you. And the appointment is the graduation. That comes up quite often. You also must have a correctable vision of 20/50, possess a valid driver's license, and have a high school diploma or GED. And the last point that they like to point on there or put on there is that you must be willing to reside anywhere in the state of Indiana. When you raise your right hand and you're sworn in as a state trooper, you understand fully that you could be living in Evansville, but they may uproot you, move you to Fort Wayne to work, and that's just part of it.
Yeah, that's always been a part of it, but hopefully they can get you somewhere close back to your native land if you want to go there, or it's a great experience to go somewhere else and kind of get your mistakes out of the way.
Sure.
Your first few years of what you're doing, and I know that was good for me when I came out. I went to a Lafayette district, not from there originally, but it was a great plan, and it worked out good. Well, again, you're listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm Sergeant Rich Myers with District 52 PIO. Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance. Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. We want to thank them for their continued support here of the Indiana State Police Roadshow. Sergeant Anthony Emery with the recruiting section of Indiana State Police. So have you guys been making a lot of stops and things with this academy coming up to various schools, universities, that job fairs?
Yes, we've been hitting everything that we can. As a matter of fact, we got 3 recruiters besides myself that are out there divided up north, central, and south part of the state. And those folks, I find them going in 3 different directions every day. So we're trying to hit as many venues as we can, the colleges, universities, and also military installations. A lot of folks are losing their job from the military downsizing, and those folks bring a lot to the table. So we're definitely reaching out to those folks and trying to get those veterans to apply for the agency as well.
Now, I know a lot of, when we were doing recruiting in PIO, a lot of times the military had a question about being able to come and do part of the application process and things. And there are kind of some special things that you folks can do for them.
We do. We have the military obligation program, and basically what that allows those folks that are serving full-time active duty service outside the state of Indiana can make a limited number of trips to Indiana to participate in our selection process. We have multiple phases of the selection process that can be found on the website as well, but just to throw a few out there, you'll start with a written test, a PT exam, or a physical agilities test,
Right.
An oral interview, polygraph, background investigation, so on and so forth. Those folks here in the state of Indiana will have to make a separate trip to Indianapolis area to come and participate in each phase of that. For those folks serving in full-time active duty military outside the state of Indiana, they can actually request to participate in the military obligation program, which would allow them to come back sometime in March for a 2-day period back-to-back, and they'll knock out the first section of those phases. That'd be the written test, PT exam, oral interview, and polygraph. They would do that all over a 2-day period. So again, that limits the number of trips they have to make here to Indiana.
That would cram everything into 2 days as opposed to it's generally about another 6-month process.
Yeah,
isn't it?
5 to 6 months right now is what we're looking at. And those folks, they will go through every phase of the selection process. They're not skipping over any of it, but we'll just be expediting that and doing it over a 2-day period.
Something that I tried to tell people when we were in PIO and we were doing it, I'm sure you're doing the same thing too, is they, again, come up to you on the street or wherever and, hey, what can I do to get into state police? What's the best advice? And one of the things that I think I was seeing as I was starting to get into that, and you probably, as you're more involved in this, is social media. You've got to watch that, don't you?
Oh, boy, yeah. Everybody wants to put all their business out on social media right now, and that is one of the aspects or one of the things that we look at, especially during the background investigation. We are going to go through and look through your social media accounts, and we're going to see what you're doing. So if you're 20 years of age going through our process and we look at your Facebook or your Twitter account or whatever the case may be, and you're sitting there chugging down a 40-ounce of beer, that's going to be a red flag to us. So you got to think about what you're putting out there, both as far as photos go, as well as what kind of statement you're making and what you're putting out there. Because again, we're not going to hire someone that's going to come in and create an embarrassment for us or give us a black eye by what they're doing out on social media.
Yeah, it's something that if you go for the Indiana State Police job, it's just good advice to watch out whatever you're doing, out there, period, to put out on social media for a job interview, wherever you're going to go.
Yeah, I try to remind my daughter that. I got a teenage daughter, and I tell her that you don't have to put every thought that enters your brain out there on social media. And it just seems like so many of them do. They want to tell you everything that they think of or goes through their mind. So,
and probably one of the other things that made me hit people too, besides the social media in the background, is your finances. You've got to have those in order.
Absolutely. We're going to do a credit history on there. And again, I want to reiterate, we are not looking for perfect people. I tell people about the polygraph all the time.
Yeah.
People ask me about the polygraph, and
which is commonly known as a lie detector.
Right? And also for the credit report, we're not looking for perfect people. If they were, you and I wouldn't be sitting here today. But we're looking to make sure that you're making wise choices. And on that credit report, if you got some things in there that you think might create a red flag, we're just looking to see what you're doing to correct that. So again, don't let that keep you from applying for the agency if you feel like you got a few things in your credit report. We just want to see that you're actually trying to make it right at this point, and it's shown a history of that, trying to make things right. Yeah.
Well, we're down to about a minute and a half to go. Let's talk about anything that you want to that I've missed, maybe that you want to get out there about this application process, selection process. If anybody is aware or knows of anybody, make sure that they're aware to go to our website. And that's the only way you can fill one out right now, correct?
Correct. Everything's done online now. It's electronically submitted. So again, go to the website, www.in.gov/ISP, or simply put Indiana State Police in your search engine. Under the Career Opportunities tab, click on the State Trooper's position. It's about halfway down the page.
And you have to have a good email address, because that's how you're going to be notified of every process that comes along, right?
Sure. And if you're having problems downloading the application or getting it submitted, Firefox, Google Chrome, things like that, sometimes are blocking that out. So you may just try a different internet provider or even a different computer. We're finding that some of the firewalls are keeping that application from downloading.
And I tell people a lot of times, if they don't have application or if they don't have access library,
yes,
totally
absolutely.
free right there. Well, again, you've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow with Sergeant Anthony Emery from the Recruiting. Anthony, thanks again.
Thanks for having me, Rich. Appreciate it.
Well, The Indiana State Police is brought to you, or the Indiana State Police Roadshow is brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. Thank you so much for sponsoring our show. Again, if you're wondering interested in the state police job, go to recruiting and on the state police website page and job opportunities. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week. Buckle up. Make sure those kids stay buckled up and have a safe holiday weekend. Bye-bye.